What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, bringing you yet another Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle today against Matt. And today's match is going to be a mixed tier match, and I will get into these teams in a minute. But before I do that, I just want to remind you guys that as long as this video reaches that magical number of 60 likes, I will continue to bring you these lovely daily double Wi-Fi battle uploads and all of that fun stuff. Now, looking at these teams here, just comparing them, can see very easily that we both brought two OU Pokemon. I've got Scizor and Conkeldurr, he's got Volcarona and Venusaur, so that's pretty cool. And then the rest of our Pokemon are just lower tiered stuff. I think I have like a couple of RU and then a couple NU, and looks like he has a similar thing going on. So on his side, he's got the Vivillon or Vivillon, however you want to say it. So I know what that's going to do. It's just going to be Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, probably Focus Sash, although I'm not positive on that one. Milotic is probably going to be a wall of some sort. They can play a kind of a decent, like, mixed wall, because it has very high natural special defense. So you can play it with, like, a bold nature and full physically defensive investment. I've seen that before. Or it could just be all special, and that could be a little bit of a problem as well. So we'll have to feel it out and see what kind of a wall it is. The Volcarona is most likely going to be some kind of Quiver Dancing set as well, with a fire move like Fire Blast, Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, maybe Giga Drain. It could also potentially be Resto Chesto. I've seen those. They're pretty common. Emolga, which is just absolutely amazing. It's probably just going to be a support set with like Tailwind and that kind of stuff, but major props for using Emolga, my friend. I love it. Dust Noir, which could be a bunch of different things. I've seen Assault Vest variants. It could be a physically attacking set. It could just be completely physically defensive. It could just be completely specially defensive. It's actually a very versatile Pokemon. So not something that I want to underestimate. And Venusaur looks to be a Mega here, although I guess it could potentially have like Manual Sun or something that's not nearly as effective, but we will get to see what it does. On my side, I'm bringing the Glaceon, which is just a kind of a weird, like, hail setting up set, and I know none of my other Pokemon can take advantage of it, but it works pretty nicely. It's able to fire off, perfect accuracy blizzards and activate its Ice Body ability as well to get some passive recovery. It's holding the Icy Rock, so the hail will stick around for 8 turns. Scizor is a Choice Banded set. Has some interesting moves. Obviously, it has the Bullet Punch. It has the U-Turn. And I also gave it Thief because it gets boosted by Technician because it is 60 base power. And Dark type coverage is actually really good this generation. Then I also have Quick Attack, which is another great priority move that catches a lot of Pokemon off guard that like to try to come in and resist the Bullet Punch, such as Water type Pokemon. That could potentially be really good for taking out Milotic, depending on how things go. I also have the Manectric, which is Choice Scarfed, not Mega. Absol, which is Focus Sash, Assault Vest, Conkeldurr, which is pretty standard, and then Torkoal. You guys have seen that 100 gazillion times, and it's got the Stealth Rock, it's got the Rapid Spin, Lava Plume, and Yawn, because why not? He's tired. He wants to make other people drowsy too. And we're going to start off with Torkoal here, because I love Torkoal, and I want to get those rocks up for Vivillon, but Vivillon actually starts off the battle here, and it's going to put me right to sleep. And I was looking at my team, I really didn't see anything that would be good sleep fodder, so I was like, Torkoal, you're going to have to bite the bullet on this one. And chances are, well actually I thought he might try to set up and hit me up with a Hurricane, because that would do a lot of damage to this Torkoal, but he's actually just going to switch out into Milotic to get the type advantage, which is a fair play as well. And now there's the second turn of sleep, I'm still sleeping. And now he's going to pull the Attract out of the bag, and I was like, come on, man. Really, with the Attract? Please don't have Confuse Ray as well. So I'm attracted as I wake up, and I actually do pull off a move here somehow, some way. I pull off the Stealth Rocks, and that's great because that means all Focus Sashes are going to be broken on his side of the field, and I do not believe he has anything to get rid of rocks. I guess Emolga could potentially have Defog. Does it get Defog? I don't even know. Most Flying-type Pokemon do, but it tends to be like pre-4th gen, 4th gen and before, because in 4th gen, Defog was an HM, so the 5th and 6th generation Pokemon tend to not be able to get it unless it's an egg move. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. I'm just going to set up a substitute here as he just continues to scald me. I really thought he would try to switch out, and that would give me an opportunity to have a sub up and then go for the hail and start firing off some blizzards. But this is just kind of bad. I'm in a bad spot right here. He's going to be able to hit me up with a Scald, you know, outside of the sub. It's going to do a lot of damage. It's not going to quite take me out because I am getting that Ice Body recovery, which is nice. But he also has the light screen up. So I really should have switched out here instead of just basically foddering off my Glaceon. I was also burning the light screen turns, but at the same time, it wasn't worth giving up a Pokemon. So there's the hail damage. You know, I'm getting some little residual stuff going on. Blizzard did absolutely nothing to this thing, but because of the light screen, it's really hard to tell if this is a completely specially defensive wall or not, because just having it brought out on a Torkoal doesn't really, you know, it doesn't give it away too much what kind of set it is. There's the light screen wearing off, so now I'm going to be able to bring in Conkeldurr, which should be able to just do so much damage to this thing. Figured he would not want to stay in, especially with the fighting type. The switch into Dusknoir was so obvious, so I'm like, you know what, let's go for that knockoff and hope that the Dusknoir comes in. Sure enough, that's what he does. So this is going to hurt. Even if it's completely physically defensive, it's going to hurt. And it actually just straight up takes this thing out without a crit. And I knock off the Rocky Helmet, so that tells me that it was physically defensive, or at least had some, you know, HP investment. So that's kind of crazy that it did that much damage. Conkeldurr is so powerful. In comes the Vivillon, and he takes a crap load of damage from the Stealth Rocks, and I do not want to stay in here and get put to sleep. That is not what I'm interested in. So back into Torkoal, because apparently Torkoal is my sleep fodder for this team. Just, that's what it is. I don't have anything else that I want to sleep. So into the Torkoal I go, and yeah, he puts me right to sleep. There is the hail, so that's going to bring this Vivillon down below the 50% mark, which is great. And going to get some lefties recovery as well, so I will recover off that hail damage, which is nice. But now we can start setting up Quiver Dances. And that is not something that I want to deal with, because a Hurricane after a Quiver Dance most likely will just take out Torkoal, because Torkoal has pretty bad special defense, to be honest. Really does. Has great HP and great physical defense, but just pretty bad special defense. So there's the hail again, so we're dealing some nice residual damage. And both Milotic and Vivillon are getting worn down just by the hail. Just by the hail. So there is the Psychic, which is not a bad coverage move. Really was not expecting it, because Hurricane really just, you know, covers the fighting types that Bug Buzz would be not very effective on, but Psychic works too, and it does some decent damage to this Torkoal, but not nearly as much as I thought it was going to do. And it's possible that he doesn't have the Hurricane just because he doesn't like missing, because even with Compound Eyes, you can still miss. And speaking of missing, he went for the Sleep Powder there, and obviously that did not have any effect because I was still asleep, but I wake up the same turn, so that may have been a misclick. Or he may have predicted me to switch, but that would have activated Sleep Claws, so I'm not sure entirely what that was. But I wake up and go for the Lava Plume, and that just, yeah, that sets that little Mothy on fire. Or butterfly, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know. I guess it's not really a moth. It's more of a butterfly type deal. I don't know what I'm talking about. There's a recover for the Milotic. I was kind of expecting that because I really cannot touch this thing. I can go for the Lava Plume, try to get residual damage, but that's really not going to do much. It's going to be a resisted hit, and I'm uninvested. It's a Torkoal. So I decided to go for a Yawn. And either he's going to want to stay in here and end up falling asleep, or he's going to switch out. He decides to stay in and go for the Scald, because I guess in his mind, getting rid of the Torkoal, which has just been a pain to his team, is more important at this point. So the Milotic will indeed fall asleep. Torkoal goes down, and I'm okay with that. So now I can come into Absol here. And I've got my Focus Sash up. I just need him to not wake up and hit me with a Scald. But because he fell asleep at the end of the turn with a Yawn, the first turn doesn't count as part of the sleep timer. So he can't wake up this turn. So that is good. So I get a free Swords Dance. Now he's going to switch out, because now he knows he's in trouble. In comes the Venusaur. And that is not going to like any hits that I want to throw its way. It's really not. But I decided to go for another Swords Dance. I got a little bit greedy, to be honest, because he could very well have just woken up and went for Scald and burned me. And that would have been the end of the possible Absol sweep. But he is going to go into the Venusaur here. He's going to Mega Evolve, but I'm at +4 now. And that is a huge problem for him. My outspeed, going to go for the knockoff. And that just straight up kills a Mega Venusaur in one shot. Wow. I mean, I know he took the Stealth Rocks damage, so it was more like 88% of his health, but that did so much damage. I can count on one hand how many times I've seen Mega Venusaur go down in one hit to anything. Stealth Rocks or no Stealth Rocks. In comes the Volcarona, and I take that out with a knockoff as well, but I get the Flame Body Hacks. So I'm burned, and I'm down to +2 attack now, and that is unfortunate. Or not +2, I guess. What would it be? Is it +2? Because it halves your attack. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just going to go for the knockoff here. It does some decent damage to this Milotic. He was holding the Wave Incense, so maybe he didn't have all of the correct items that he wanted to have for competitive battling. But that being said, another knockoff is going to kill this Milotic, even though we're burned. Burned Absol still does so much damage. It's crazy. Absolute craziness. I really think that Focus Sash Absol is better than Mega Absol. That's just my personal opinion. I guess it comes down to preference, but I prefer having the Focus Sash. So in comes the Emolga. I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch, and it connects, so that means he was going for an attack move. And even though I'm burned, it still just straight up kills this Emolga. So Absol getting the sweep there. It wasn't a full sweep. He killed, what, 4 Pokemon? Venusaur, Emolga, Milotic, Volcarona. Yeah, he killed 4 out of the 6 Pokemon. So Scizor and Manectric did not even get into the battle, which is a bit unfortunate. I like using Manectric. Really do. Just never really saw a chance for him to get in there. I guess I could have led off with it for the Volt Switch and such, but I think that Emolga might get Lightning Rod. Is it Lightning Rod? Or no, not Lightning Rod. Motor Drive. So didn't want to risk it. Figured that keeping Manectric off the field until Emolga was gone would be the better option, just because not that Emolga can really use the Motor Drive effectively, but still giving your opponent a free turn and switch initiative can really be the difference in the battle, regardless of the other things. Anyway, it was still a very fun match. I had a lot of fun. Anytime Torkoal and Absol do a lot of work, I'm having a good time. And he brought some awesome Pokemon. I'm really sad that the 2 times that I faced Emolga in competitive battling for the channel, I don't know, I kill it off too fast and we don't get to see, you know, in action or anything. I really want to see what these things do, because I really don't have any experience using one or battling against one. And I mean, I want to use one, but I'm not really sure what to do with it. I have to think that one over. Maybe I can include one and bring one to Battle Spot or something. That would be a little bit crazy. Anyway, I'm just rambling here, so that's going to be it for this time, guys. Thank you very much for watching, as always. And do not forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, because it does help out a lot. So we'll see you for tomorrow's battle. But until then, game on.